Hello, Explain America has been rolls with fake news, repeating fake news predicate acts, much worse than just fake news. Criminally foreign influence World Trade Center. They have some Democratic themed voices and some Republican themed voices. Criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions, raw fact shipping nature, quality aspects of nature. Interbranch has been refusing to identify themselves legitimately and refusing to get onto paper so they can stick more fake things in databases on a mass scale. You guys have all kinds of wire crime acts and methods with the Wethersfield Police, you Connecticut Interbranch and Interstates with the World Trade Center attack. I'm one of the people who was in the World Trade Center attack in the building next to it, the court next to it. And I was in a building next to it sleeping the night before. I noticed people, I recorded too, various ways. People tied to former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin. I didn't see him in Manhattan, but people involved with predicate acts with him before that and after it, and in that context, including with the Scalora family and people with Central Connecticut State University involved with Wethersfield Police that forced them to collusions with them intercities, interstate. These are people from Yukon. Also with a doctor from Duke, for example, a Leahy family, a whole family of doctors at Harvard Hospital with their mental health side. They're putting fake conversations in those databases. The family's doing it, and one's tied to them. They've been putting fake things in databases behind people's backs, people that never even had classes together. Then they're planting evidences with those clicks on all sides of kids' houses. This is with Wethersfield Police phones families, and one's tied to them through time. Involved further with the World Trade Center attack in Manhattan from Connecticut. The state judicial branch offices and the state corrections offices, they also have these delusions, rotten nutbags with the YouTubers, pretend bash, oh, it's just politics, free speech. That's not free speech. Follow mandated law, it's free speech. In other words, get me off the fake conversations with Channel 3 News, WFSB. And, I even have love for Barack Obama. I only called him a name because he's got roles with the people with the predicate acts involved with the Clintons. There's a 1989 Reader's Digest article. A whole bunch of people in that article involved with people that have been planting evidences at my campuses and next to Fox Connecticut News and WFSB and at their locations, wire crime acts and methods. They won't respond to me. I told you there can be a problem. People are going to get hurt. And there are more people with the security guards with the school and with retired police chiefs with some sexual medical offenders playing games with the phone, making people call back and then pretend we spoke. You better get them on paper to me too. And you better stop hiding what I caught you doing from the parents. They're lying to the parents too about what I communicated with them. You better get them on paper, please. Get someone on paper. Get someone on paper. Get this WFSB off the fake conversation with me. Fox Connecticut News too. They have a bunch of people next to these locations too. Next to Fox Connecticut News location has a Thaddeus Grabowski as one of the co-defendants, a former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, involved with people where Hangdog Lane, where the 2-road highway runs into Hangdog Lane, and the conjunctions to that involved, like Route 3, which is conjunctive to the state judicial branch offices. A whole bunch of people involved with wire crime acts and methods with them. Phil Collusions was further confessed and recorded by Bob Chase and others involved with the sexual and medical offenders of the kids' leaders forced. He has roles putting fake things in databases at Whiting Forensics and changing and faking digital evidences with Joshua Julian on the face of the principal upskirt Nature's campus, also with names on my street. He also recorded that on Facebook. That's why they kept taking my Facebook pages. There are murders and untimely death rolls. That's why I called the principal, the president, a name, because I saw him being insidious and I got scared. These are World Trade Center attacks. Don't take it personal, Mr. Obama. Black pupils, whites of eyes, I peer. I'll see right through these fake law voices, A through Z. The President Trump doesn't have help. President Obama didn't have help, and President Biden didn't. In other words, that's not mental incompetence. It's because he's listening to morons at A through Z, because they're countering morons too when they speak about all the subject treatments. You don't leave out how we have black pupils, whites of eyes from American history, and you don't replace what our founders communicated to us to understand how James Madison was our founder. They asked us to refer to him as him singular for a reason, because they knew they were in a fake. and start blaming right through our schools. They blame George Washington for slavery. Even if that was true, you're supposed to leave up. You're not supposed to leave out the extortion of him, which would have brought up how George Washington was counter-extorted by James Madison. The founders behind him, his plan. And then he was a president too. He still didn't have free speech. They declassified this. If you pay attention, they have their words used, leaving out what they declassified about that. There was a breaching method entrenched, sensing everyone through themselves, an extent of collusion against themselves and against everyone around them. Otherwise, that body was sensed. Everyone had to pretend free speech, even though they didn't have it. Otherwise, that body was sensed, including if that body was a majority of people, including if it was everyone. Please. President Obama, President Trump, President Biden, who's going to win? Get them on paper. President Bush, let's get them on paper. They WFSB, rules of the World Trade Center attack, before and after with Saudis too. They recorded it after too. I don't even know all their names. They're forcing them to collusions, both sides too. In other words, there's a hyperforeign. Know how slavery was entrenched in northern colonies and southern colonies, sickly distinctly, but sickly non-distinctly too. Know how people don't even know that. Not because they didn't read their books, because those books are criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw, communicating other than our founders, declassified for us to have understood. Clear. Please get them off the paid conversations with WFSB and get them on paper, one name in sequence. They have the Facebook page. Facebook has people personally and professionally involved with them. There's a Celeste Wells. I don't know her family is named Wells. There's a Wells Road too. I had no class with her. She's trying to make fake it look like they fake except tied to me. All along Route 175, people tied to her with overt criminal enterprises, private ones, and people putting predicate acts with facts and databases roles, wrongdoing roles. And people with the interbranch have been refusing to identify themselves. They have roles with Facebook personally and professionally, with child sex offenders, and with other natures of organized crimes. These are also ones with overt criminal enterprise, with Italian criminal enterprises, Latin ones per themselves too, and with body dumping spots and names next to them. Like Enzo Fienza is one of the ones with the state judicial branch offices, increasingly involved with people at and next to body dumping spots. And they had time collusions with totally different body dumping spots, even ones years apart, that were brought up. A bunch of people made confessions, like a Robert Rodriguez too, more sexual medical offenders of kids. See his words, his use of the word linguistics on Facebook before they took my Facebook page from me. He confirmed on Facebook 2 times he came to my street. I didn't have a word of conversation with him. He's involved also with people named DeMoro and Scalora, planting evidences on my street. And DeMoro and his girlfriend and other people with his girlfriend had roles with different home break-ins. And they have the FBI director, Robert Luskin, his co-defendants, Thaddeus Grabowski, Dominic Leparado, and a John LeConte. John LeConte has a daughter, a Dawn LeConte. I never had a word of conversation with her. Heather Hansen has her involved with various natures of organized crimes with teachers I had, and and with judges and prosecutors with all kinds of predicate acts. They're involved with serious crimes with people also at next to the corrections offices that have rights to do crime, but they're breaking those rights. They have roles with overt criminal evidence, child abusers, leaders of kids, first force. They have roles with the elderly homes, clearer than day. Criminal foreign influences and delusions speak for the problems there and how to solve them and what's good or bad about it. They have criminal and seditious natures, the good things about the elderly homes, and criminal and seditious natures, the negative, to keep from our discernment that criminal foreign influences there, / hyper criminal foreign influences. These are kinds of people who start valuing more and more things like wars, things like the World Trade Center attack, to be used in their bullshit, to get, in other words, to pretend passions and emotions. Get me off the fake conversations with them about the World Trade Center attack. Where's this Leahy family live? Make sure they get off the fake conversation with me. Get on, please. I want the rest. I want them to the rest of the confessions about the police tied to them. What are they talking about? He's angry. Then they left. They didn't even tell me why he's angry. Why is he angry? Make sure you get him off the fake conversations with me and get him on paper, and get him off the school too. Where's this? There's Mazzucato Bakery, Modern Pastry. See this John Maiano, his brother Alex Maiano and Marco, and their roles with these DeMorals too, per the John Maiano too, on the Elm Street in Rocky Hill and Weathersfield, increasingly conjunction to like which is conjunctive to Route 3, which is conjunctive to the state judicial branch offices. The judicial branch offices has a whole bunch of people involved also with their family members of judges and prosecutors and victims advocates with overt criminal enterprises and private ones. Criminally portable uses of the hallways of the court. Some Mendez police attached me to a fake conversation with them at the Wethersfield police station. They're also next to Fox Connecticut News with a bunch of police forums involved with their educators too. I never had class with the Mendez brothers. They're putting fake things in databases, fake ties, fake natures ties to people. They have something to do with the food bag, trying to make it look like I'm tied to them in a adjustable event sketch. And they have some rules with the Koreans, with the people with the food bag, and next to where Wethersfield police are now, where they used to be, and they're leaking this stuff. So don't let them pretend other, because they're leaking it also in there by hiding and plotting. Get them on paper, warn them in sequence. I can't get anyone to respond to me. You psycho punks. Get her off there's no people with the name O'Neill involved with education at West Hartford. Make sure she gets on paper with the Whiting forensics involved with wire crimes with her and with the Saudis involved. And with the World Trade Center attack with people named Scalora who are involved with wire crimes with their people that said they're their cousin that lived near me named Collusions, who also has a Phil Collusions extended family member, further by a Bob Chase, Whiting forensics. Recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with digital crimes, wire crimes, sexual, medical, and medicines crimes, and drugs crimes. Also with Facebook, with a Joshua Julian on the Facebook page of the principal upskirt nature. And they forced that by faking conversation with me about the World Trade Center attack at the same time. Increasingly, they need to get on paper and see the military tied to the Violet and their roles with the Elm Streets and Rocky Hill and Wethersfield. Where's the Violet live? Where's the Violet live? Get them on paper, please.